that Jack's committed to the club?
Yeah, a really important signing. I think it's an indication of the faith the players have got in the footy club now and the direction we're heading. But it's a really important signature to have. We know how important a player is, how much he's improved. Obviously his pedigree with his dad playing here as well. So for all those reasons, it's a really good signature to have and a positive story for the footy club.
You've coached him for most of his career. What have you made of his progress?
Oh, look, I think the real turning point for Jack was, he was in a hurry as a kid, as they all are. I mean, coming on the back of, the Giants and the Suns and all their young kids playing because, they had to be perfectly frank. I think, once he calmed down a little bit and realised, that the coaches were there to really help him, help guide him, incremental improvements were fine with us. I think that was a real turning point, So he made the decision to really listen, become a student of the game, and we've seen his footy go through the roof over the last 18 months, which is great.
So did you have that conversation with him just to slow down and sort of let it happen?
Yeah, I think his end-of-year review in my first year, the coaches were a bit at him about just relaxing, just being happy to sort of climb the ladder rather than jump from one rung to 10 rungs. And I think we just noticed a different kid coming back in that next pre-season, really not so much focused because he's always focused on his footy, but focused on learning, focused on being a better player. And that to me was a real turning point. He made that decision, and as I said, his footy last year and his footy so far this year has been excellent.
Moving forward, do you see him as a key pillar in a premiership push or maybe a potential future captain?
Yeah, it's always hard to label future captains. I mean, what we try to do now is educate our young players. Nathan's doing a fantastic job. His improvement as a captain over the last couple of years has been dramatic, and he's really controlling the organisation now. He's got great feel for the game, a great feel for his own game. So, look, if Jack can learn off Nathan, anything's possible.
Looking forward to the Bulldogs, a win over a decent side like them would possibly push you into the 8. Does that make it one of the more important games you've had for a while?
Oh, I guess, again, I talk about it every week, but we're really in a learning phase. I mean, we try to talk about, that's the outcome is the win. We need to still focus on what we saw last week is a good representation of where we are as a club. I think we're the youngest club in the round, but if we get a contribution for all our players, then we're a really good team. If we drop off, then we struggle. So I think that's the focus for us this week, regardless of who we play, where we play, is just to remind the players that come to play your role, come to play with energy, enthusiasm, and then, the scoreboard will tick over one way or the other. If we can get it right, I'm sure it's going to be a terrific game.
Is it good to see, a good test to see where you're at? You've obviously come up against the Giants and the Roos and just fallen short against those guys, but another top 8 team to see where you're at.
Yeah, well, we beat the Giants in round 1, but you never know where teams are going to end up. But I think for us, every game's a test. We played Collingwood off the back of a lot of criticism, Richmond, and they're going to be really tough games. I think Essendon was sort of their big game for the year where they brought all their past players back and they had the march and. North down in Tassie, so all these experiences are great experiences for us. The Bulldogs have probably been going about their business, under Brendan McCartney, so that was 3 years. Another year under Luke last year, so they're sort of 4 years in. What are we, two and a bit? It'd be great to see where we are in comparison to them because they've become a really, really good footy team.
Do you see yourself playing big finals against the Doggies in a few years' time? I know you said that about the Giants earlier in the year.
Well, you certainly hope so. You hope with their list. I mean, they played finals last year, and certainly they're well on the way to doing it again. It's early in the season, obviously, but their list, their youth, the Giants, the Suns we played on the weekend. In terms of the demographic, but we've still got to win games of footy. We've still got to educate, and we've still got to get to that level, which we hope to do sooner rather than later.
What's the key to stopping the Doggies, do you think?
I think you've got to match them around the contest. People talk about their offensive stuff, but I love the way they're really hard around the ball, and that's an educational phase that Brendan was involved in for sort of 3 years. So we're well aware of how that took place. Defensively, they're really good. Everyone talks about how good they are offensively. A lot of their offence comes off the back of their contest and their defence. So that's the key to me. Around the ball, we're going to have to match them in that area.
Are you looking at making any changes for that clash?
Not sure. I mean, we need to get an update on Salem and H to see where they're at. Obviously, our seconds had a terrific win. We're certainly pleased with the guys that came in the footy team, which was terrific. Stretch had a good game. Mitchie had a good game. Garland had a good game. Clayton Oliver looked fresh again. But I think the key to our team is to keeping it fresh. It's really hard. I said that a couple of weeks ago. It's hard to predict who's not going to play well this week. But I think what we need to do is keep our team fresh, because if we're fresh and energised, we seem to play well. When we get a bit tired and guys look like they're struggling to get across the ground is when we tend to struggle. So look, we'll seriously consider it, but it's going to be hard to drop anyone from that team.
And will Chris Dawes return through the VFL this weekend?
Yeah, we played last weekend and played limited minutes, I think 70 minutes or something along those lines, so he'll continue that phase. Yeah, look, we're really pleased with the way he played last week, but we need to give him some game time. We need to give him some confidence that when he gets back in the team, he feels really good about himself.
We talk about Jack a lot, Trengrove. Is he still realistically a couple of weeks away from playing seniors?
Yeah, I think so. Again, I've pretty much left it up to Jack to sort of wander in and say, look, I'm feeling great. We don't want to put too much pressure on him. He played another good game on the weekend. But, yeah, I suspect a lot of it is for Jack is just enjoying his footy, getting back out there, playing really well, winning games, getting bumps and knocks and getting up off the ground and all those sorts of things. So, look, he's been really consistent with his performance. And at some point, he's going to start to put his hand up for senior selection, and then we'll start to judge him purely on form.
Speaking to James Harms yesterday, he said that Jesse Hogues had gone home to visit, was it family? Was that the only purpose of the trip? Is he not in doubt for this weekend?
No, look, it's probably part of our management with all the players. We saw it with Clayton Oliver, Sam Wiedemann didn't play 2 weeks ago, Liam Hewlett, but they're sort of Victorian kids. Clayton went up to visit his family on the border. It's a bit closer to go than Perth, but we're really mindful of all our players, making sure when there is some time, we can give them some time back with their families. So it's pretty much just part of the management program that we do with all our players.
There's been talk with obviously Jack Viney signing on now that attention turns again to Jesse. Do you sort of hope that Jack can influence Jesse to stay by signing on?
Look, we're really comfortable with Jesse and his management, and as I said, it was a joint decision to put on hold, and we've seen the benefits already. His form has been really good this year. The team's improving. We've got guys signing, but look, as I said, we're really comfortable with Jesse and where he's at. He seems really happy with his footy, happy being in Melbourne, but that'll play out over the course of time.
John O'Brien said a 10-year deal. Do you think it's going to be a Lance Franklin type length deal for Jesse in his next
We might have to borrow some money from Brownie and get a sponsorship from his radio station. So, look, I think the media are there to generate discussion and create stories and things like that. So, that's what they do. That's what they're paid to do. The reality is, Jesse will get well paid wherever he goes because he's a high quality player. I would suggest not many teams can afford $15 million over 10 years because the reality, you've got to actually build a team around players. There's no good having one player, and I've never seen one player beat 22 yet. What we're trying to do is be fair with everyone. But if we believe if we can keep the group together, then you've got a really good chance to be a successful footy team. If you pay over the odds to one player, as this club's done before, when we're under pressure, then it becomes really hard to assemble a good list.
Jack Grimes kicked 2 goals in the VFL at the weekend. Would he look to crack into the side as a forward at all? Yeah,
look, we're trying to, as we've done with some of our players, we're really aware that with our senior team going well and our seconds going well, we've got to try and create opportunities, create different positions. We did that with Viv Mitchie. We played him off half back, and that really worked on the weekend. We gave him a block of footy there. On the weekend, we put Sam Frost down in the defence to give him another opportunity. We played Grimesy on a wing. We played him half forward a bit on the weekend as well. So that's part of our obligation to the players. If there's not a spot, making sure we're moving him around and giving him as much chance. Look, his footy's actually been pretty consistent most of the season. Trying to give guys a different opportunity to get in the team is part of what we're doing as a coaching group.